How to communicate better in English. Hi, I'm Teacher Luke, and welcome to this story on the ways to communicate better in English. But before I start reading, please write in the comments which country you are listening from. I would love to know. Okay, let's get started with this story. Chapter 1. Build confidence with simple English. Before we begin, let me ask you two questions. Have you ever stopped speaking in English because you were afraid of making a mistake? And do you sometimes feel nervous because your sentences are not perfect? Please share your answers in the comments. You're not alone. Many learners feel this way. One of the biggest challenges English learners face is confidence. People often believe they need complex words, long sentences, or perfect grammar to communicate well. But the truth is very different. You don't need complicated English to be a good communicator. In fact, simple English is often the most effective. Think about how you speak in your first language. Do you always use the biggest words you know? Do you always speak in long sentences? Probably not. When we talk with friends, family, or colleagues, we usually keep things simple and clear. That's what makes conversation natural and easy to follow. The same is true for English. The goal is not to impress people with difficult vocabulary. The goal is to connect, to share your ideas, and to be understood. Let me tell you a story from my own life as a teacher. A few years ago, I had a student named Maria. She was from Spain and had studied English for many years. She knew a lot of grammar rules, and she had memorized hundreds of advanced words. But when it came to speaking, she froze. Maria told me, "Teacher Luke, I'm afraid to talk because I always make mistakes. My grammar is not perfect." I asked her a question in class. "What did you do last weekend?" A simple question. She thought for a long time, trying to build a perfect answer in her head. Finally, she said something very short, like, "I go, park, Saturday." I smiled and said, "Great. I understand you. You went to the park on Saturday. That's clear communication." Then I asked her, "What did you do in the park?" And again, she hesitated. She wanted to use complex vocabulary. She wanted the grammar to be perfect, but her fear of mistakes stopped her from speaking freely. So I gave her this advice. Forget about perfection. Use simple English. Focus on the message, not the grammar. The next time, instead of trying to make a long, complicated sentence, she said, "I played football with my friends. After that, we ate pizza. It was simple, clear, and correct enough." And the best part? She looked happy. She was finally communicating, not worrying. From that moment, Maria's confidence grew. By the end of the course, she was speaking much more. Her grammar and vocabulary improved naturally, but only because she had the courage to use simple English first. This story teaches us an important lesson. Communication comes before perfection. If you wait until your English is perfect, you will never speak. But if you start with simple words and structures, you will gain confidence, and confidence will help you grow. Let's think about this in another way. Imagine you are in a foreign country and you need directions to the train station. Which sentence do you think is more useful? "Excuse me, could you possibly inform me of the location of the nearest railway station?" Or, "Excuse me, where is the train station?" Both are correct, but the second one is shorter, simpler, and much easier to say. And guess what? The person will understand you immediately. This is why simple English is powerful. It reduces stress, makes conversation natural, and helps you focus on the message. You might ask, "But Teacher Luke, won't people think I am less intelligent if I use simple English?" Absolutely not. In fact, the best communicators in the world often use simple language. Think of famous leaders, writers, and speakers. They know that clarity is more important than complexity. For example, many speeches that inspire people are not filled with difficult words. They are filled with short, powerful sentences. Why? Because simple words connect with everyone. So, remember, simple English is not baby English. It is smart English, it is clear English, and it is confident English. Let's look at some practical steps you can take to build confidence with simple English. Use short sentences. Instead of saying, "The reason why I wasn't able to come to the meeting yesterday was because I had some personal matters to attend to." Simply say, "I couldn't come to the meeting yesterday. I had personal matters." Both communicate the same idea, but the second is much easier. Choose common words. Don't worry about sounding fancy. Instead of utilize, say use. Instead of purchase, say buy. Instead of inquire, say ask. These words are just as correct, and they will make your speaking smoother. Focus on the message. When you speak, ask yourself, did the other person understand me? If yes, then you have succeeded, even if your grammar wasn't perfect. Practice every day. Confidence doesn't appear overnight. Try speaking English every day, even for 5 minutes. Talk about your day, your plans, or your hobbies. Record yourself if you want, and listen back. You'll see progress faster than you expect. I want to share another personal story. In one of my classes, I asked students to give short presentations. One student, Ahmed, was very nervous. He said, "Teacher, my English is not good enough." I encouraged him to try anyway, and I gave him this advice. Keep it simple. When the day came, he stood up and said, "Hello, my name is Ahmed. I want to talk about football. I love football because it makes me happy. My favorite team is Barcelona." It wasn't long. It wasn't advanced. But the class listened, smiled, and clapped. Ahmed felt proud, and the next week he spoke again, this time a little longer. Step by step, his confidence grew. The lesson here is simple. When you use English, even at a basic level, you succeed. The more you practice, the stronger you become. Confidence is not about never making mistakes. It is about speaking anyway, even when you make mistakes. It is about trusting that people will understand you. And usually they do. Most native speakers don't care if your grammar is perfect. They care about your message, your story, and your effort. So, my advice is this. Start small, use simple English, celebrate every conversation, even the short ones. Over time, you will naturally use more complex words and longer sentences. But first, you must build the habit of speaking without fear. Let me finish with 2 questions for you. When was the last time you felt confident speaking English? And do you think using simple English could help you speak more often? Please share your answers in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences. Because in the end, confidence is not about knowing every word in the dictionary. It's about opening your mouth, sharing your thoughts, and trusting that your simple English is powerful enough. Chapter 2. Listen and copy native speakers. Before we begin, let me ask you 2 questions. Who is your favorite English speaker? Maybe an actor, singer, or YouTuber. And have you ever tried to copy the way they speak? Please share your answers in the comments. I'd love to know who inspires you. One of the fastest ways to improve your communication in English is by listening carefully to native speakers and copying what they say. This may sound simple, but it is a powerful method. Children learn their first language by listening and imitating. They don't study grammar books first. They copy sounds, rhythm, and words until they can speak. You can use the same method to improve your English. Listening and copying helps with 3 important areas: pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence. When you listen closely, you notice how words are connected, where the stress falls, and how intonation changes the meaning. When you copy, You train your mouth and tongue to move in new ways. Over time, this practice makes your English sound smoother and more natural. Let me share a small story from one of my students. His name was Paulo, and he was from Brazil. When he first joined my class, his grammar was excellent, but his speaking was slow and uncertain. He said each word separately, like stepping on stones one by one. I introduced him to a technique called shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a short piece of English, maybe a sentence or two, and then repeating it immediately, almost at the same time as the speaker. It feels like you are the speaker's shadow, following every movement. At first, Paulo found it very difficult. He laughed and said, "Teacher Luke, I sound crazy." I cannot keep up, but I encouraged him. Don't worry about mistakes. Focus on rhythm and flow. Imagine you are copying music. He practiced every day just for 10 minutes. He used podcasts, YouTube videos, and even movie clips. After a few weeks, his speaking changed. He still had an accent, and that was fine, but his speech was smoother, faster, and much more confident. His classmates noticed the difference and he felt proud. This shows the power of listening and copying. It is not about becoming a native speaker. It is about training your ear and your mouth to work together. So, how can you practice this technique yourself? Let me guide you step by step. Choose a short clip. Pick something no longer than 30 seconds. It could be a scene from a movie, a line from a TED Talk, or even one of my YouTube videos. Shorter is better because you can focus on every detail. Listen carefully. Play the clip several times without speaking. Notice how the speaker uses stress, how their voice goes up and down, and how they connect words together. For example, in English we often say gonna instead of going to, or wanna instead of want to. Repeat slowly. Pause the clip and copy the line slowly, word by word. Don't worry about speed yet. Just get the sounds right. Shadow in real time. Now try to speak at the same time as the speaker. You may not catch every word, and that's okay. The goal is to match the rhythm. Record yourself. This step is important. When you record and listen back, you will hear differences you didn't notice before. Compare yourself to the original speaker and try again. Another powerful method is imitation with emotion. Instead of only copying the words, copy the feelings too. If the speaker sounds excited, try to sound excited. If they are serious, match their tone. This will help you understand not just pronunciation, but also how emotions are expressed in English. For example, think about how native speakers say the simple phrase, "Really?" Sometimes it sounds surprised. "Really?" Sometimes doubtful. "Really?" And sometimes annoyed. "Really?" By copying these differences, you'll become more expressive and natural. You can also try the repeat and extend technique. First, copy a short sentence exactly. Then, add your own extra words while keeping the same rhythm. For example, if the speaker says, "I love coffee," you copy, "I love coffee." Then you extend, "I love coffee in the morning." This way, you practice not only imitation, but also fluency. Let me share another story. A student named Aya from Japan loved British dramas, especially Sherlock. She decided to practice shadowing using her favorite characters' lines. At first, she copied the words, but then she began copying the expressions, the pauses, and even the humor. Over time, her English became much more dynamic. She told me, "Teacher, I feel like I can act in English now." And in a way, she could. By listening and copying, she had built confidence to use English in real conversations. Of course, some learners worry about accents. They say, "Teacher Luke, should I copy a British accent or an American one?" My answer is, don't worry too much. The most important thing is clarity. Choose a model that you enjoy listening to and copy them. Your accent will still be unique, and that's perfectly fine. The goal is not to erase your identity, but to make your English more understandable and natural. Here are a few practical tips to make listening and copying easier. Use subtitles at first. Watch a short video with English subtitles. Listen, read, and then copy. Later, turn the subtitles off to challenge yourself. Repeat daily. 10 minutes a day is better than 1 hour once a week. Your mouth and ears need regular practice. Start small. Don't begin with long lectures. Use simple dialogues or even advertisements. Make it fun. Choose voices you like. If you enjoy music, copy songs. If you enjoy comedy, copy comedians. Enjoyment makes practice sustainable. Why does this method work so well? Because it connects listening and speaking directly. Many learners spend years studying grammar and vocabulary, but they don't practice the physical side of language, moving the mouth, using the voice, and hearing the rhythm. Listening and copying trains these muscles. It is like going to the gym, but for your English. And just like the gym, results come slowly but surely. After a month of practice, you may notice that you understand fast speech more easily. After 3 months, you may find yourself speaking faster without thinking too much. After 6 months, your confidence will be very different from before. Let's not forget, communication is not about being perfect. It is about being understood and feeling comfortable. Listening and copying gives you both. It shows you how English really sounds, and it gives you the courage to join the conversation. So let me ask you again, who is one English speaker you would like to copy for practice? And have you ever tried shadowing or imitation before? Please share your answers in the comments. I'd love to hear about your practice and your favorite voices, because in the end, building better communication in English is not only about learning rules. It's about listening closely, copying bravely, and finding your own voice in a new language. Chapter 3. Take action and build momentum. Before we begin, let me ask you 2 questions. When was the last time you used English in a real conversation? And do you think practice is more important than theory when learning a language? Please write your answers in the comments. I'd love to hear about your experiences. Many learners spend years studying English grammar, vocabulary lists, and textbooks. They prepare and prepare, waiting for the perfect moment to start speaking. But here's the truth. The perfect moment will never come. If you want to become a better communicator, you must take action. You must use the English you already know, even if it feels small or imperfect. The key is momentum. When you take one step, it becomes easier to take the next, just like pushing a bicycle. At first, it feels heavy, but once the wheels start turning, it gets easier and faster. Language learning is the same. The more you practice speaking, listening, and connecting with people, the more natural it becomes. Let me share a story from one of my classes. I once had a student named Lena from South Korea. She was an excellent reader and could write long essays in English. But in class, she almost never spoke. She told me, "Teacher Luke, I will speak when my English is better." I said to her gently, "Lena, your English will become better only when you start speaking." So I gave her a challenge. Say just one sentence in every class. That's all. At first, it was difficult. She looked nervous, her voice was soft, and she made many mistakes. But she did it. And the next class, she said 2 sentences, then 3. After a month, she was speaking freely. Lena built momentum by taking small actions every day. She didn't wait for perfection. She created progress by moving forward. This chapter is about how you can take action and build momentum in your own English journey. And one of the most powerful tools you have is not even language itself. It is body language and human connection. Think about communication in your first language. Do you only use words? Number. You also use your hands, your eyes, your smile, and your posture. These signals often say more than the words themselves. In English, body language is your secret weapon. Even if your words are simple, you can communicate meaning, emotion, and confidence through the way you move. Let's break this down. 1. Eye contact. When you look at someone while speaking, you show that you are confident and interested. If your words are simple but your eyes are warm and steady, the listener will feel connected to you. 2. Smiling. A smile is universal. You don't need advanced vocabulary to make someone feel comfortable. A smile tells the listener, I'm friendly. I want to connect. 3. Gestures. Using your hands can help explain your meaning. If you can't remember the word for circle, you can draw it in the air. If you can't explain big, you can show it with your arms. Gestures give you freedom when your vocabulary is limited. 4. Tone of voice. How you say something matters as much as what you say. A rising tone can show a question, a firm tone can show confidence, and a soft tone can show care. These nonverbal tools help you keep momentum in a conversation, even when your grammar or vocabulary isn't perfect. I remember another student, Carlos from Mexico. He loved to tell stories, but sometimes his English words were missing. Instead of stopping, he used gestures, facial expressions, and even sound effects. His classmates laughed, clapped, and always understood him. His confidence grew, not because his grammar was perfect, but because his communication was alive. This is the power of connection. When you focus on the person you are talking to, rather than only on your mistakes, you build stronger relationships. And strong relationships keep you motivated to practice more. So, how can you take action and build momentum every day? Here are a few practical steps. Start small. Say hello to someone in English. Order food in English if possible. Write one short comment in English online. These small actions add up. Use what you know. Don't wait until your vocabulary is good enough. Use the words you already have. You can always explain in simple ways. For example, if you don't know the word pharmacy, you can say, the place where I buy medicine. Focus on connection, not perfection. Remember, communication is about people, not about perfect grammar. Listen carefully, smile, use body language, and show interest. People will appreciate your effort. Practice regularly. Momentum is about consistency. Even 10 minutes a day is powerful. The important thing is not to stop. Momentum is also about mindset. Many learners think, I must avoid mistakes. But mistakes are not the enemy. They are signs that you are learning. Every mistake is like a brick in the road. Step on it and you move forward. I often tell my students, don't aim for perfect English. Aim for brave English. Brave English means speaking even when you're not sure. It means trying even when you're nervous. Each brave step creates more confidence for the next step. Let me give you one final story. In one of my workshops, I asked students to pair up and have a 3-minute conversation in English. At first, they were terrified. 3 minutes felt like forever. But I encouraged them to use body language, to smile, to keep asking questions like, and you, or what about you? Something amazing happened. After the activity, one student said, Teacher, I thought 3 minutes was impossible. But when I started, I forgot about the time. I used simple words, but we laughed and understood each other. That student learned a powerful lesson. Once you take action, momentum carries you forward. So let me finish this chapter with 2 questions for you. What small step can you take today to practice your English? And how can you use body language to feel more confident in your next conversation? Please share your answers in the comments. I'd love to hear your ideas. Because in the end, communication is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It is about taking action step by step and building momentum until speaking English feels natural, joyful, and alive. Thank you for listening today. Have a great day.